In the headlines, opposition senators threaten to impeach President Buhari over rising insecurity.
Sir, this door is locked. They locked this door. All these sergeants are coming.
Court reserves ruling on suspended AGF's bail application. Organized labor stormed National Assembly over ASU, NASU, and not strike. On the foreign scene, Turkey's consulate in Iraqi city of Mosul comes under attack. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Nten Ekman. And other news in full. We begin from the National Assembly, where senators from the opposition parties have given President Muhammadu Buhari 6 weeks ultimatum to address the rising insecurity in the country or face impeachment. Senate Minority Leader Philip Aduda stated these while addressing reporters after the opposition lawmakers angrily stormed out of the Senate plenary chanting "Buhari must go, Lawan should follow" to protest the worsening insecurity across the country. Now, trouble started when the Senate President Ahmed Lawan ruled the Senate Minority Leader out of order when he, the Minority Leader, raised a point of order for the Red Chamber to deliberate on issues raised at a closed-door session which lasted for 2 hours. Irked by the ruling, the opposition senators stormed out of the plenary, chanting songs and calling for President Buhari to quit. The All Progressives Congress on Wednesday named the senator representing Sokoto East Abdullahi Gobe as a new Senate leader. Now, this is contained in a letter by the national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and read at plenary by the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan. Gobe replaced Senator Yahaya Abdullahi of Kebbi North following his resignation as Senate leader because he defected from the APC to the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. Bandits have killed at least 60 people and sacked 8 villages in Karim Lamito local government area of Taraba State. The villages located at the border between Taraba, Plateau and Bauchi had been under the siege of bandits for the past several months. A community leader, Tanko Andami, told Daily Trust in an interview the killing happened between December last year and July this year at Benari, Belingo, Jamagi, Jabjab, and Tinga Kaya, among other villages in the border areas. He said the sacked villages include Komotoro, Jamaga, Mashain, Kirgi, Mashaimbiri, Tafashia, Guamo, Jigawa, and Tungan And he stated further that there are over 2,000 bandits in their bases at forests located in both Plateau and Taraba border areas. The Taraba Police Command is yet to issue a statement to that effect. The FCT Police Command has dismissed as false and unfounded news making the rounds on social media that there was sporadic shooting at Dantata Bridge and Ministers Hill in the Lugbe area of Abuja. The command, in a statement by the Commissioner Babaji Sunday, said it arrived at the conclusion after an all-night monitoring and surveillance of the area by the command's intelligence and tactical asset. The CP said he had directed an investigation into sources of countless and maliciously crafted and panic-generating write-ups geared towards disrupting the peace in the FCT. The Commissioner, while reassuring residents of the commitment and safety of all in the territory, urged members of the public to only believe information released from official stables. Suspended Accountant General of the Federation Ahmed Idris will remain in detention The Federal Capital Territory High Court reserves ruling on his bail application till Thursday. Idris and 3 others are standing trial over alleged 109 billion naira fraud. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the trial judge, Justice Adeyemi Ajayi, ruled on admissibility or otherwise of a document tendered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The report.
The matter is for hearing of motions on bail application filed by defense counsels on behalf of the suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, and 3 others. Prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs, SAN, had opposed the bail application, citing the strength of the charges, cogency of the evidence, and severity of punishment attached to the offense. Defense counsels led by Chris Uche, SAN, however, urged the court to discountenance the position of the prosecution on the grounds that the offense is bailable and the accused have a history of committing themselves to trial, which resulted in their earlier administrative bail by an Abuja magistrate.
The application for bail has been taken today from both sides, both from us, the applicants who applied for bail, and also from the part of the respondents, that's the prosecution, who also opposed bail. And you know, bail is one of the preliminary stages you go through before you get into trial. So we have presented our application before the court, and the court has adjourned the matter for ruling tomorrow.
What we are saying is that there are special circumstances where bail should not be granted in this case, because it's a case that affects the entire nation. It's a case that that has to do with corruption, and that the court should not lightly grant bail in such a case, particularly if you look at the nature and the gravity of the offense.
The parties also argue for and against the admissibility or otherwise of an earlier remand order tendered by the prosecution counsel to support his argument, which the trial judge, Justice Adeyemi Ajayi, granted.
It's an order of the FCT, so the court taking judicial notice of it is provided for under the Evidence Act. The court should take judicial notice of his own order, and that's what it has done.
For now, the accused will remain at the Kuje Medium Correctional Facility pending the determination of their bail application. It was legal fireworks right here at the FCT High Court, where counsels, argue for and against a bail application brought to the court by the defense counsels in a suit involving the suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, and 3 others on a 14-count charge bordering on 109 billion naira fraud. And of course, the counsels for both the accused and of course the prosecution counsel extensively argue for and against their submissions before Justice Adeyemi Ajayi, who eventually reserved ruling on this matter until Thursday, the 28th of July 2022. From the FCT High Court here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Shafiu Suleiman there. Moving on, the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC on Wednesday continued its protest in Abuja over the prolonged strike by university workers across the country. Now, this comes a day after similar demonstrations held in various states of the Federation except in the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. The protest began after members of the NLC leadership and leaders of various affiliated unions, as well as members, converged on the Unity Fountain in the nation's capital. Among those physically present were the NLC President Ayuba Waba, ASU President Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, and the immediate past President of the Academic Union, Professor Biodun Oguniemi, and Shehu Sani, former Kaduna Senator. There was heavy security presence at the venue of the protest, mostly made up of personnel of the Nigerian police. Now, speaking at the Unity Fountain, Waba said this is just the first phase, adding that the second phase is the 3-day national strike.
In a similar rally to say that we are a very credible organization and that we need to reset the country. So we are resetting the country to make sure that our leaders do what is right. I want to salute all our unions for being on strike for 5 months, some 3 months. Their salary has been stopped it is criminal to stop the salary of a worker whose only fault is to demand that a collective bargaining agreement validly signed should be respected. In other climes, it is even the workers that will actually deploy no pay, no work. But shamelessly, they deploy no pay, no work, no pay. Nowhere in the law that I know, under the ILO conventions that guides industrial relations globally, do you have such a draconian law? We thank governors because some of them spoke yesterday to say that they will not stop the salary of their state university workers. We commend them, and we commend those governors that came out openly also to support what is happening, because they realize leadership is about taking responsibility, not about complaining. Leadership is about finding solution, not about giving excuse. We are tired of excuse. We are tired of lamentation. We want solution. We want the issues to be fixed. That is why we are here, comrades. And therefore, we must be ready. We must be ready. This is just the first phase. The second phase, which we are aware, is the 3-day national strike.
Women farmers across Nigeria are meeting to discuss the operation of the national policy on gender in agriculture to increase the participation of women in agriculture towards achieving food security in Nigeria. Organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in collaboration with the Partnership for Advancing Women in Economic Development, the meeting is part of the National Steering Committee's annual dialogue on promoting women in agriculture. The report.
Boosting agricultural production through the input of women in rural and urban centers reduces food imports and develops the economy. This underscores the need for a successful implementation of policies tailored towards achieving food security.
I think DRPC has a project referred to as POWED, which is a partnership for advancing women in economic development. Under POWED, they have a model where they encourage the formation of WECs, which is the women economic collectives or coalition. These are a group of women who are working in areas related to empowerment of women, whether it is agriculture, industry, etc., etc.
And it encouraged so many people to get, but we had issues of having to produce enough, sufficiently, because even at this point of singing agriculture in the country, we are still doing them manually.
Discussions are therefore centered on ensuring elimination of subsistence farming, effect of climate change, harmful practices that hinder women's participation, as well as investment in agriculture as an engine of economic growth.
So the ministry is really working assiduously to help women, because there is no way the new policy that is approved by the federal government, the NAFTIP, National Agricultural Transformation Innovative Policy, that will achieve all the content or the elements in the policy without incorporating women.
The gender policy has been stepped down in the states across the country. There is a high level of awareness among the women across the country, and especially in the different ministries of agriculture. For example, we are working on trying to create the gender desks in the various ministries of agriculture.
Other stakeholders in the sector say addressing the challenges of rural women in agriculture and full implementation of the policies will ease the burden.
We had worked with the Small-Scale Women Farmers Organization in Nigeria to simplify the policy and supported the smallholder women farmers to develop their work plan, which they implemented by engaging with different ministries, departments and agencies, commissioners for agriculture.
Experts say without investment in agriculture, especially in programs at the rural level that promote economic growth among women, food security would continue to elude the country. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has received another batch of 175 stranded Nigerians from Libya. Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Ahmed, represented by the Acting Coordinator of Lagos Territorial Office of the agency, Ibrahim Farinloye, confirmed the development in Lagos. Farinloye said that the returnees, 77 males, 64 females, 23 children and 11 infants, were received at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. He said that among the returnees, 2 females and 2 males had medical issues. He enjoined the returnees to take a new leave and access the ample opportunities bestowed on the country. You're watching the news update coming to you live on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, how Kebbi residents grapple with erosion threats. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update coming to you live from Trust Television. A recap of our major stories so far. Opposition senators threaten to impeach President Buhari over rising insecurity. And court reserves ruling on suspended AGF's bail application. Heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government have been charged to ensure that trainings are maximized to enhance effective service delivery in all sectors. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, gave the charge at the induction of chairmen and members of governing boards of federal parastatals in Abuja. Mustafa was represented by his office's Permanent Secretary, General Services, Maurice Mbaeri, at the induction conducted at the end of a 2-day capacity training for chief executive officers, heads of MDAs and board members. He urged them to domesticate the knowledge gained at the capacity building program in their various MDAs to ensure that desired results are achieved.
Various parastatals, agencies and commissions to apply or put to use these things you have learned from this program on how to promote good corporate practice in your respective organizations. Chairman, chief executive officers, distinguished board members, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly urge you that when you report back to your various parastatals and agencies, you see to it that all your management team and staff feel the impact of this program from the enhanced quality service that you will henceforth render. Our society has become more educated and developed, and the expectations of service delivery system keep increasing. The citizens are expecting openness and transparency in decision-making process of the government. As top government functionaries, it is our duty to meet the expectations and render efficient service to our people, failing which the government will have to bear the risks and possible consequences.
We want to thank you, CAS, for your continued support to PPSR to run this very important program. And you have heard from the various contributors either the participants or the resource persons that you should do more. So we're going to come back to you to see how we can improve on this, possibly to get a larger number of agencies to benefit. I want to sincerely thank the SGF, represented by my brother, the Permanent Secretary, GSO, for your continuous support and understanding and giving us the space to drive some of these engagements.
Also with the BPSR, CAS wants to continue this very rewarding partnership because we see the effects and we see the betterment that we can achieve together. So thank you for being a pioneer in institutional capacity building, while aiming at building a robust public service that will serve all Nigerians. And I want to thank you, all of you who are here, our participants, for making time and being here for 2 full days. We all know that building internal capacity is not an end in itself, especially within the work of federal public service.
Legal practitioners are expressing divergent opinions over the disagreement between the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and some political parties on the provisions of the new Electoral Act on matters regarding nomination of candidates. Trust TV's Shafius Suleiman reports that while the nation's electoral umpire remains firm on its resolve to adhere to the provisions of the Act, political parties are mounting pressure on INEC to accept their candidates. The report.
Section 81, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 empowers INEC to monitor the conduct of political parties' primary. The electoral umpire also relies on its monitoring department to build a data bank of candidates that emerge through valid political party primaries.
The position of Section 115, subsection D of the Electoral Act is unambiguously very clear. That provision prohibits the possibility of you to be a dual candidate in 2 electoral experiments.
Because I've said that our constitutional nomination is winning the primaries of a political party. Once you win, you are validly nominated by that process, and therefore you are the validly nominated candidate of the party.
While Section 29, subsection 1 of the same electoral law says only the names of validly nominated candidates should find their way into INEC office. Some political parties are bent at substituting already nominated candidates in what is perceived to be at variance with the provision of the law.
Section 33 of the Electoral Act provides, and I quote, it says a political party shall not be allowed to change or substitute its candidate whose name has been submitted under Section 29 of this Act, except in the case of death or withdrawal by the candidate.
If it comes to the issue of making a decision out of it, there is a body that the governance system or our own state system has given that authority and that power, and that is the courts.
The courts have already started pronouncing in favor of the position of INEC. The position of INEC is very simple. Under sections 31, 32 down to 34, there are only 2 instances where you can change a candidate as a political party.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is however resolute in its decision to accept only candidates that emerge through acceptable party primaries.
This particular commission is courageous, this particular commission is focused, and we are resolute in terms of our decision to conduct a good election in 2023.
Stakeholders in the polity are of the opinion that political actors should submit themselves to the provisions of the law, even if it's not in their favor, in order not to overheat the polity and undermine the citizens' confidence in the electoral process. Shafius Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Residents of Badaria area of Birnin Kebbi have cried out to the state government to come to their aid before their homes are overwhelmed by an ever-expanding gully erosion. The residents say the erosion threat has been left unattended by the government for long. Hamza Galadima has more on the report.
Badaria is a new settlement in Birnin Kebbi which has for the past few years been expanding with all category of people building homes, schools, student hostels and other development structures. Recently, the people of the area, particularly Those living around Kwana Hostel have cried out over the ever-expanding gully erosion that is fast threatening to take over their homes and in the process endangering their lives, as well as wreak havoc and destruction on their valued properties. A visit to the area by Trust TV revealed that the erosion has cut off over 80% of the area from the main area, leaving a deep gully that is fast taking over homes and on a daily basis. Some of the residents of the area who spoke to Trust TV appealed to the Kebbi State government to come to their aid, as very soon their homes will be history if nothing is done.
As you can see, the risk we are taking, even by a leg, follow this road is risky. We're almost cut off from the other people in the area. And it's taking over our houses. Most of the houses now, they have no places to stay. You can see this house is almost gone due to this erosion. We are calling on the relevant agencies, both federal and state, to come to our aid because we are suffering. We don't know before the end of this rainy season. This road will be cut off totally. So we are calling on the government to do something about it, please.
Hamza Galadima Zuru, reporting for Trust TV News from Birnin Kebbi.
The Most Reverend Daniel Chukwudumebi Oko has been elected the new president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. The announcement is contained in a statement issued by the CAN General Secretary Joseph Daramola. Oko is the General Superintendent of Christ Holy Church, also called Nation Builders. Reverend Oko is coming at a time of religious acrimony and disharmony, as well as tension, especially between Christians and Muslims. Oko, who was born on November 12, 1963 in Kano to Christian parents, is a native of Ndoni in Ogbai, Egbema, Ndoni local government area of Rivers State. On the foreign scene, Turkish Foreign Ministry has condemned an attack on Turkey's Consulate General in the northern Iraqi city of Mosul. The ministry said there were no casualties and called on Iraqi authorities to fulfill their responsibilities in protecting diplomatic and consular missions and bring those responsible to justice as soon as possible. The ministry said the attack coincided with a United Nations Security Council meeting held at the request of Iraqi authorities to discuss an attack in the northern Iraq last week at a time when the country was unfairly accused and targeted. And with that, we've come to the end of the news update on Trust TV this hour. For more, to connect with us on our social media handles. Thanks for watching. I am Nten Ekbang. Bye for now.